You may have noticed the past couple of builds I've did. I built bases that have asphalt roadway, and Kenny over at Mindless Model Works on my time machine build, he asked me how I do the asphalt. So I said I'd do up a quick video just to show how I do it, and it's very simple. You can see here, this is the base I did for my Mad Max Interceptor. And basically, guys, all I use to do it is just cork. It's very flexible, it's easy to cut. To my eye anyways, the texture of it closely resembles asphalt in 1:25, and it's very easy to work with. So just let me I'll just show you exactly what I do, how I paint it, and things like that. So just give me a second to move the camera out to my shop here where I build my bases and stuff. So just give me 1 second. Alright guys, so the cork I use is just natural cork tile. Comes in 12 by 12 squares, 12 inches. I don't know how thick it is, less than 1/4 of an inch I think. Comes in a package of 4. I bought it at Michael's. Here in Canada I think it was about $15 or $16, but you know, everything's expensive up here and taxed to death and everything else, so in the US you could probably get it for $5 or $6, I would imagine. So I guess you could buy it at any hobby store, but like I said, I bought this one at Michael's. And just a natural cork, unfinished. You can get it different colors, but I'd rather color it myself. I find the results are better. So yeah, let's get to it, I guess. Okay guys, so once you figure out how big your piece of asphalt is going to be for your base that you're building, cut the piece of cork to that size that you need. And the nice thing about this cork is you can cut this cuts easily with a hobby knife or a utility knife, and even when you cut it, it leaves a bit of a rough edge, which is nice. You can knock these corners off. However, you know, if you want to give it a more used back road type of look, you can take these corners off to leave a nice rough edge. And also, you'll notice the cork that I have, you probably can't see it on the camera, but one side is a little bit rougher than the other. So depending on what type of road you want to build, you can have it a little bit rough or you can have it a little bit smoother. But no matter which way you go, you paint it the same way. Now, if you watched my videos, you'll notice on the time machine video, I used cut edges, not square, but you know, to cut them out really rough. But on the Road Warrior one, I wanted to go for a ripped up pavement effect. And the nice thing about cork, all you have to do is just crack it to the shape that you want, or the average, or the approximate shape. And you can see this nice edge that it gives you here, and it really looks like the asphalt has been broken away. So just let me show you how I paint this, and move on to the next step. Okay, so now we're ready to start painting. I start off with a light coat of primer, and then follow that up with a light coat of black. It doesn't have to be flat black. In my case it is. And for this I use the absolute cheapest primer and paint that I can find. It doesn't have to be, you know, good Duplicolor or Tamiya or Testers or anything like that. Just the cheapest spray cans that you can find. So yeah, let's get painting. So first, guys, just a light coat of the gray primer. You don't have to completely cover it. Just a light dust like that's good enough. And it's the same with the black. Just a light dust. It doesn't have to be completely covered. And then you just give that 15-20 minutes to dry, and then we'll move on to the next step. Okay, guys, so the primer and light coat of black paint is now dried. Again, you'll want just a very cheap wide brush and just some cheap craft acrylic paint. I've been using this Folk Art medium gray and Craft Smart black. Of course, any will do. Now you don't even have to thin this paint or anything. So first I put the gray on. So just right out of the tube. And when you paint, you want to paint in the direction of the roadway, of the traffic flow. So, and you don't need full coverage here, guys. That's why you put that base coat underneath. So just very not really splotchy, but it doesn't have to be even either. Now, before the gray dries, while it's still wet, that's when you want to add the black. I don't even clean the brush. You can if you want, but I don't. And then the same thing, just, you know, you're not going for complete coverage or anything. And then that's it. You just leave it and let that dry, and then we'll move on to the next step. Okay, guys, so it only takes, you know, 5 minutes for that to dry. Now, I guess depending on where your road is, how big it's going to be, how wide it is, things like that, you may want to paint lines on it or paint the edging on it. And me personally, I don't want those lines to be super crisp, so again, just get very cheap masking tape. I just put my hands in the paint, so it's nice, and then I just lay it down. Now the tape doesn't stick very good, which is kind of what I want, because again, I don't want, sorry, I don't want to paint through this. Because again, I don't want it to be nice, crisp, clean edges. So again, just cheap craft acrylic paint. Same paintbrush I had before. And then I just hold the tape in place and just go along the edge. And then just take the tape away. Now in a couple of spots, this one actually did seep under a bit more than what I would have liked. But that doesn't really matter because it's very, very easy to fix. The water that I use to clean my brush, that's full of the paint colors now. I usually keep that on hand, and it's good for if you just want to do cleanup like that. And the water allows you to, because it's all acrylic paints, it just allows you to blend it all in. And you can do the same if you're painting, center lines or whatever you want to paint them yellow, measure them out, stuff like that. So then I let that dry, and this time around I like to let it dry completely. So I usually wait half hour or so, and then we'll come back to the next part. Hey guys, so it's been about 20 minutes or so. Everything's dry. At this point, you can practically be done if you like. If you want to go with the breakaway, if you want to go with the breakaway here, you can leave it like it is. I normally paint this black so that it's blacker than the blacktop itself. Or you can paint it out of the way here. Or if you want to make it cracks and stuff like that, basically you do just that. You just break it however you want it. However much, depends on how much you want to break it. But try to be sure that you make a note of how it goes back together. So when you take this, you can go here and then paint these edges black, and you'll then have a dark black line along here from some of the paint over. But again, you can use your water, and you can use the gray and black paint again and just streak it down to blend it in. But make sure you remember what order it goes in. So then you would just take this and glue it down to your base and just basically reassemble it. And at this point you can have the cracks as wide or as close together as you want. And then you just put it on your base like that. You can then go in with your whatever you're using for your groundwork, and you can fill these in with the ground if you like. I usually leave them opened. I say usually, I've only done it twice. And then you let the glue dry. And then once it's all dried down, you just go in and do your weathering. However you want to do, whether you like to use powders and pastels or use your airbrush to add dust and stuff like that. Another thing you can do, you break that point off and put it back together. You have a pothole here now that you can fill in with dirt or whatever. And all these pieces that you break off here as you're making your base, pieces of cork, I usually keep those. Depending on what kind of a scene or diorama or base you're working on. These can just be used as debris. You can paint them. It could be, old asphalt debris, or if you want to paint them, you could almost make them rocks, I guess, if you wanted. So anyways, guys, that's it. It's as simple as that. Very inexpensive. The most expensive thing is the cork. Now, like I said, this cork, I don't know what thickness that is, maybe an eighth of an inch, maybe a bit more. But anyways, this is the one that I use. You can also get this, I think you can get it a bit thicker than this, but you can also get it if you go to, I go to Michael's. If you go to their specialty paper area, you can get this cork in a booklet, and it is like paper thin. So you can use that and just lay it on top if you want to do like a new type of pavement or something that doesn't. You can even put the cracks in there, but they're not going to be as deep and three-dimensional as if you do it this way. So, but it has the same texture. So, yeah, to me this offers a good, to my eye anyways, it's the texture, and it looks very in scale for 125, 125th. Maybe even if you want to go up to, 116, 120 maybe. But you can also use this method if you want to do, I guess you could use it if you want to make a sidewalk, or if you build aircraft and you want to make an airfield. They have all the squares, concrete squares. I don't see any reason why you couldn't use this to make that as well. You could add woodland scenic grass, growing up between the cracks and stuff. So, I mean, there's any multitude of things you can do with this. So, anyways, guys, I hope that helped. If you have any questions, just let me know. Like I said, I hope it helps you out. So, thanks for watching, guys. And build on.